Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and hi everyone. So for our group today, we're going to present about ethics between religion and philosophy. So here are the presenter. First, Brother Zulhafiz. Second, Brother Amirun and myself, Haris Irfan. So our content of presentation today, we're gonna see in terms of religion, philosophy, ethics, and a bit of conclusion. So let's start with religion first. Okay, here how we define religion. Religion is a set of organized belief, practices, and system. So the function of religion is for someone is to believe and worship of a controlling force, such as a personal god or another supernatural being. And for religion itself, there are many different understanding of what religion is, and not religions are centered on a belief in a god, gods, or supernatural forces. Next. All right. So types of religions. Okay. To understand generally, we can say that there are two, which is the major world religious tradition, which are widely known, or much lesser known belief system of smaller population. Meaning that there are some religions that are well known, but there are some religions, but in a small context of people, in a small population. All right. So some of the religion represent monotheism or the belief in a single god, while others are example of polytheism of the belief in multiple gods. So here are the example of religions that exist, which is these are the well-known religion, which is Islam, Buddhism, Christianity, and Hinduism. Next.
Okay, next about the philosophy. Next. So philosophy come from two Greek words, philia, which means love, and sophia, which means wisdom. Literally, philosophy means by the love of wisdom. As we'll know, love in this context is understood as a strong desire for the particular object, while wisdom is understood as a correct application of knowledge. So, the philosophy considered as the lust of wisdom, at least in this context, could refer to the strong desire of the human person to possess knowledge and apply it correctly. So, the definition of philosophy is the study of general and fundamental questions, such as those about existence, reason, knowledge, value, mind, and language. Such as question are often posed as a problem to study or resolve. In other words, philosophy is concerned with the reason and precept that account for everything that exists. In short, philosophy attempts to understand things in critical and logical manner. Okay, next. This is a major branch of philosophy. The the philosophy can divide it into five majors, which are metaphysics, epistemology, archaeology, logic, and ethics. Okay, next. Okay, for the first branch of philosophy is a metaphysics. Meta metaphysics from the Greek word meta, which means the beyond or after, and physics uh, is which mean physical and nature. Literally mean a study of things beyond the physical, such as concept of God, freedom, and soul. Metaphysics means study of the study beyond of physical, that is concept of thing cannot be experienced, such as God, freedom, and soul. Also, metaphysics commonly understood as the foundation of philosophy. Like Aristotle say, is the firstly philosophy is a metaphysic. Metaphysic is further subdivided into two. Firstly, general metaphysic, and second, special metaphysic. Slide. For the general metaphysic, also refer as a ontology, and the second one, special metaphysic, is divided into the three parts. Firstly, cosmology, psychology, and theodicy. For the ontology, also known by the general metaphysics, ontology is combined from two words. Ontology from the Greek word also, which means being of that which everything that exists, and logos mean the knowledge or study. Ontology therefore is the specific branch of philosophy that study being in their ultimate cause, reason, and principle through the aid of the reason alone. In other words, ontology study the first principle at the essence of all things. The common question in ontology, what is being? For the special metaphysics, firstly we go to cosmology, from the Greek word cosmos, which means the word, and logos, which means the study. So specific, the cosmology means that study the world or universe. Common question in cosmology, what is the origin of the world? Second, psychology, from the Greek word psyche, which means the soul, and the logos, which means the study. Psychology meaning the study branch of philosophy that studies soul or mind, broadly constitute to the psychology in the study of the nature and dynamic of the human person as a whole. The common question in the psychology is what is a nature? The lastly, special metaphysics subdivided is a theodicy. The theodicy also from the Greek word theos, which means God, but the theodicy broadly considered theodicy is the study. Theodicy is concerned with the justification of the goodness of God in the existence of evil in the world. The common question in the theodicy is the God, and what of who is God, if he exists at all. Slide. The second branch in the philosophy is epistemology, from the Greek word episteme means knowledge, and logos means study. So definition of epistemology, the study of the nature and scope of knowledge, justified belief. Specifically is analysis the nature of knowledge and how it relates to similar notions such as truth, belief, and God. Belief. Okay. So the commonly question in the epistemology, what is a knowledge? What do we know? How is knowledge accurate? What are the structure and limit knowledge? And lastly, what may justify the beliefs justified? Slide. The third branch in the philosophy is axiology, derived from the Greek word means value or worth. And is primarily concerned with the classifying things as good and how good they are. Axiology is the branch of philosophy that considers the study of principle and value. These values are divided into two. Ethics is the questioning of moral and personal value. And second one, artistic is the examination of what is beautiful, enjoyable, and tasteful. The common question in the sociology is what is art? Okay, that's all. So next, the next of branch of philosophy is a logic. The term came from the Greek word logos. Logos mean knowledge also. Logic mean, but this is differently from the another logos. This logos means the science of correct thinking or the study of principle in criteria of valid argument. Logic intend to distinguish sound and good reasoning from the unsound and bad reasoning. The question in the logic, what is the correct reasoning? What is distinguish a good argument from a bad one? How can we detect the fallacy in argument? What are the criteria in determining the validity of argument? What are the type of logic? Slide. So this last branch in the philosophy, ethics, from the Greek word, which a custom or habit. Broadly construed ethic is the morality of human action. Ethic denotes the theory of right action and greatest good practice that the good action and behavior. Question in ethic, what do people think is right? And what is the right conduct that which cause the realization of the greatest good? Slide. It is like about the philosopher. Basically, the philosopher is someone who practice philosophy. The term philosopher come from Greek, ancient Greek, which is philophos, meaning lover of wisdom. Philosopher was someone who lived according to certain way of life, focusing upon resolving existential question about the human condition. Not only that, they discuss upon the theory. This is example of the philosopher. First one, Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, Al-Kindi, and last one, Al-Farabi. Okay, next presenter.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Zulafis and I will continue with ethics. The term ethics is derived from the Greek word ethos, which can mean custom, habit, character, or disposition. Ethics can also be understood as a guideline for daily conduct in our life, which determine what is the best for individuals as well as the society. The Islamic term corresponding to ethics is ilm al-akhlaq, or the science of morality, which is the branch of knowledge that studies akhlaq in moral of human. So in this presentation, there will be a comparison between philosophy and religion regarding the ethics in human life. So from the philosophical perspective, there are many definitions and views on ethics such as egoism. Egoism perspective on ethics suggests that consequences from actions which will benefit the doer are the ethical ones. Meanwhile, from relativism, there is no absolute truth regarding the most ethical action. Anyone whose ethical reasoning is not conforming with the society where he lives need to tolerate with their norm. Furthermore, ethical relativism can be in the form of individual and society. Utilitarians' perspective on ethics are based on hedonism concept, which is to avoid the pain. It views that the more people happy from the consequence, the more ethical is the action. This philosophy upholds the consequentialism, where the consequence of an action is being measured. Fourth, the deontology where ethical decisions are based on the rule or obligation-based theory. Lastly, in the virtuous ethic, where it is a person or character or morality than action based. From the perspective of religious in general, it concerns about practice of what is good and what is wrong. These fundamental principles flow from the core beliefs and ancient wisdom of religion, as well as its teachers and traditions. So these are some of the similarities that we can see among different religions on this earth on the discussion of ethics. So the first is the golden rule, which is to treat others like what you want to be treated. And then compassion, where each religion highlight the importance of being empathy toward others. Humility is also understandable as syukur, which is the sign of respect on Allah's blessing. The last is hope, where we as a Muslim trust in Allah as well as the unseen things such as the akhirah, sins and rewards, or the Christians who are hoping for the Jesus Christ come to help the humanity. The next presenter, please.
Okay, subhanallah. Okay, next, ethics in religion from Muslim perspective. Next slide. Okay, so earlier we have defined how religion and see how philosophy works and what their definition and example. Now we see how ethics is defined in Muslim perspective. So firstly, you can say it can be defined as the good principles and values based on Islamic source. Okay, so these ethics are consistent with the ability of human beings, meaning that the ability of human is in terms of their routine, okay, how they behave, how they act in certain situation, and so on. And the ethics also covers all aspects of life. So life is contains not only the way of your life, meaning that all aspects of life is your wealth, your health, your uh, uh, related to your family and more. Okay, so ethics also focus on the Islamic worship, which can be defined as religion deeds and actions ordered by Allah SWT to get His acceptance. Meaning that, from the understanding of ethics, at the end is the objective of ethics is itself is to get acceptance from Allah SWT on how we worship Him. Next. Okay, so Khadijah say about ethics is about being a good character. Okay, is to shape. Okay, meaning that a good character is shaped by Al-Quran teachings and Prophet Muhammad's Sunnah as well as numerous precedents set by Islamic jurists, which is Sharia and fiqh. So in Islam, in Al-Quran, Sunnah, and the Islamic jurists have provided a complete code for living that is framed by ethical values. So in Al-Quran also, many terms describe the concept of ethics. Okay, here are some examples. If you read, okay, like khair, the goodness, bir, rightness, ma'ruf, known or approved, al-adlu, equilibrium and justice, al-haq, truth and right, and maslahat, public interest. So at the end, the Quran want all Muslim to do good and not engage in evil actions. So it's meaning that you do what you know, and you do what you behave in a good way, and you must avoid what is bad or forbidden in our religion. Next.
So here are the difference that we can observe between religion and philosophy regarding the ethics. So first of all, the source of ethical reasoning is coming from the divine intervention for the religion. Meanwhile, in philosophy, it all depends on high intellectual capacity to discuss on it. Then we can see the status of truthness when it comes to religion. It is objective, where there is no other truth than what has been written, Meanwhile, any answer from philosophical discussion on ethics can be subjective to the thinker and the school of thought. In religion, we depend on the divine text in order to find the answer to the big question in our life. Meanwhile, for philosophy, it depends from the logical deduction in discussion without any references from the sacred text. Lastly, the strength of ethical principles from religion is very powerful because the source is non-debatable. Meanwhile, for the philosophy, the strength of its principle is limited. For conclusion, both philosophy and religion is important for ethical decision making in our life. Furthermore, both function to civilize human being from both function to civilize human being from thousand years ago. And as a Muslim, philosophy is also important to understand and interpret the divine command. Other than that, it is also important as it can help us in differentiate the right and wrong way of thinking. And then we need to use both religion and philosophy intelligently in the right manner to get the best result for the ethical decision. So that is all from us. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.